Hi, everybody, and welcome to our web exclusive as we get set for a big night coming up on Saturday night in Norfolk, the opening of the new SB Ballard Stadium as Old Dominion and Norfolk State kick off their football season against each other. Joining me tonight is the great award-winning journalist Harry Minium. You read his column for many years on the Virginian Pilot. He has been following this story for years. Harry, when did you get the first idea that Old Dominion was serious about building a new stadium? And originally it wasn't supposed to be there on Hampton Boulevard.
Well, the first time I knew they had to have a new stadium was the day they announced they were moving to FBS. And I was covering Norfolk City Hall at the time, and I wrote a story about it. And then pretty soon after that, Rich Radford left, and I took over the ODU football beat. During 2013, there was a board meeting in which the ODU Board of Visitors saw a presentation on a big stadium that would be on Powhatan Avenue on the west side of the campus, and that was an active proposal for about a year, and then they figured out it was too expensive, so they...
How expensive?
$160 million was the estimate. Yeah, and they couldn't afford that. I mean, they're not a Power 5 school. They just couldn't afford that. And they didn't want to raise student fees, and they didn't raise student fees for this, which is incredible.
So then it became more obvious that the most efficient way to do it would be to build it on the site of Foreman Field. Was there ever any thought of maybe just being able to redo Foreman Field?
There was, but as Steve Ballard has told me and probably told you, they knew 15 years ago that Foreman Field could not be renovated. And so they came to that conclusion. They did another study to make sure, and Populous, the architects they had hired, told them you can't renovate it. And so they also did a survey of fans who said they love the Foreman Field site. And so it just made sense to tear down the old stadium and build a new.
All right, you like the way that it's been built? You've probably been there more than anyone over these past couple of months.
Well, not as much as Bruce Stewart or Steve Ballard. Steve Ballard, by the way, this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, he and his wife were there. What do I think about it? When Foreman Field, when they started to tear it down last November, I really, I lost it.
You're a Norfolk guy.
Yeah, I've been going to games here since 1964. I played there. It's where my dad took me to games. There was a lot in that stadium that was very dear to me. But if I'd known what the new stadium was going to look like, I would have cheered. I mean, it's a gorgeous stadium, and because it hasn't been open to the public, the people don't know how wonderful that place is. It's just a magnificent facility.
What about it is unique, or if not unique, because there are a lot of stadiums around the country, but for the fans here in Hampton Roads, what are they going to be awed by most of all come Saturday night?
I think one of the things that's going to hit people is how big it is. When you walk in, it looks like a stadium that seats 30 or 35,000. It doesn't. It seats 22,500 approximately, but it looks like a big-time stadium. What are they going to be excited about? Well, the fact that they've got 9 more inches of leg room, which means they don't have to stand when people come by, and no one will have their knees in their back. They're going to have 7 concession stands, which are going to be enough for 22,000 people, plus 38 points of sale. The video board is absolutely amazing. I don't know whether you've been out to see that.
I have.
It's twice as big as the old video board was, and I could see sweat glistening on players Saturday night during the scrimmage. But I think the most impressive thing at all, I was there Saturday night during the scrimmage, and we were sort of wandering around the stadium looking around, and then the sound system took off, and I thought to myself, is that a live band? And I looked around and realized that was the sound system. It is awesome, and and they have some special things planned for the pregame. I'd advise people to get in their seats by 6:40 because some of the things they're planning in the pregame, which I can't talk about, are going to be amazing. So.
And one of the biggest complaints about the old Foreman Field was the bathrooms, and I understand that that's all been taken care of.
Yes. As I've written many times, the portable toilets there gave a new meaning to the word hover. So there are 223 toilets there, 2/3 of them for women, because women take a longer time, and that's something they did surveys on. They also realized that women, if you don't have good bathrooms, they don't want to come to games. So they've got great bathrooms. I was there on Friday when the 112 toilets on the east side were flushed at one time by the ODU band, and I actually got a video of them. They were singing the fight song and a song from Halo, and it was just, it was pretty cool to hear 112 toilets flush at the same time.
One of the things that athletic director Dr. Wood-Sealy told me was that when they were planning this stadium, that college sports have changed a lot over the years, and especially football and basketball. It is very easy for people to sit at home and watch games now on their 65-inch color high-definition TVs. You've got to give the fans a reason to get in their car, drive to the games, find a place to park, go inside, and sit there for 3 hours. So that's why they have the big scoreboards. That's why they have the sound systems. I understand they're going to be running scores of games over the video while the game is being played at Old Dominion, so the fans can be kept up to date.
They're actually going to run highlights of games. I mean,
wow.
Wood has said he wants people to feel like they're in their living room, and that video board will of course show highlights of highlights of the ODU game plus live action, but it'll also show highlights from a UVA game, a Tech game, a Norfolk State game if it's on TV, ACC games. So they really want to make this entertaining for the fans, a place where during timeouts there's something to do and something to watch. Actually, I think the ribbon boards are going to be where the score is going to be most of the time.
Old Dominion coach Bobby Wilder is expected to play the Virginias, the Virginia Techs, the East Carolina, the North Carolinas, the ACC teams. And to be able to beat teams or be competitive with those teams, he's got to be able to recruit against those schools as well. Old Dominion can be a tough sell, especially with the old stadium. How much is this stadium going to help the coaching staff recruit players?
Well, it was a tough sell with the old stadium. I mean, they have lost a lot of players to East Carolina and Appalachian State and Temple and others that they might have gotten with this stadium. And Bobby told me on Friday that there are kids who are interested in visiting here who, those kinds of kids weren't interested in visiting last year or the year before. I think this is going to help recruiting immensely. And that and the fact that he's got, Brian Steinspring and Coach Blackwell on defense, he's got a really good coaching staff who are good recruiters. I think that's going to help them a lot too.
And basketball coaches tell me that part of their biggest recruiting tools are bringing basketball recruits to football games to show them how much fun it can be to go to that school during the fall. Now, do you think Jeff Jones can take advantage of this?
Oh yeah, he's bringing some recruits in Saturday night. I don't know how many and I don't know where they're from, but guys that they're recruiting, for next season, for the year after, they're coming. So.
All right, we want to start talking to the fans about what they can expect on Saturday night. One of the big things is, and we're not making fun of this because it's kind of serious, is the plastic bag rule. Can you explain to everybody what it is and what they have to do?
Well, you can only have, you can't bring in a backpack, you can't bring in a large purse. I'm sorry, you can't bring in a briefcase, which apparently some people were doing. You have to put everything in a clear plastic bag that's 12 by 12 and 6 inches wide this way. And, or, there's smaller clear bags you can use as well. You can bring in binoculars, you can bring in your cell phone, you can bring in cameras. You just don't put cases on the cameras or binoculars. You don't have to empty your pockets. I mean, it's not that draconian a change, but it's going to be a change.
They're not going to be metal detectors like in an airport or like at NFL games.
No, or like at James Madison games.
Oh, wow.
They're going to have people walking through metal detectors there. At some professional games, you have to empty your pockets. I think Major League Baseball does that. So there's not going to be any of that, but this is a rule they're going to stick to. I mean, they've got to, this is being done for the safety of everyone, and I think everyone knows what's going on in the world.
I mean, if you go to an NFL game, if you go to an NBA game, if you go to a Rolling Stones concert like I did up at FedEx Field, you're going to have to either have everything in a plastic bag. So this is just another part of viewing sports in 2019. Let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
And so Wood-Sealy asked me in a meeting last week. He said, Jason Chandler had a plastic bag. So he said, give that to Harry and have Harry and his wife fill it up. So we actually went to the bookstore on Saturday. We filled it up and we took some pictures. And if you go to odusports.com, the story's there with a picture of my wife And we have listed everything that fits in that bag. And it's amazing how much you can fit in one of those bags. It's
All right, let's
absolutely
talk
amazing.
about the fan experience again, along the lines of this is going to be great for the Old Dominion band too, and the pregame show, like you said, everybody might want to get there early on Saturday night,
640.
6:40, but during halftime and pregame, as the season goes on, at the brand new stadium, getting something to eat, sitting up in the nice suites or the premium seats. This is just going to add to the entire experience of the game time.
It is. The band has their own practice room now, which I was in there when they walked in for the first time, and they were just celebrating. The cheerleaders have their own locker room now, where they had to dress and come in to form and field by themselves. But I think one thing that people are really going to love are the concessions. We did a taste testing event for WAVY last week with Simone Davis, and after she was done, there were a couple of crab cake sliders there. So I took a bite, and I actually wound up eating 3. They're really good. The concessions are going to be, there's a chef who's in charge of everything, Chef Robert Patton, and the concessions are really going to be to die for.
All right, so bring your money and have a good time. Coming up on Thursday night, I want you to join us for a 30-minute special that we're going to be putting on WAVY TV and Fox 43. It's called ODU's New Stadium, The Making of a Monarch. It will run at 7 o'clock on Thursday night on WAVY TV 10, and then at 11 o'clock on Fox 43. Harry, thanks for being with us. And if you like Old Dominion sports, you got to follow Harry on Twitter and online. Tell him the best way to do that.
Well, go on Twitter and just type my name in it and I'll pop up. But if you go to odusports.com, that's where most of the sports stuff I write is there. But if you're looking for the most recent stadium stuff, go to odu.edu. We have a 4-part series we did in August, which has everything you'd want to know about the stadium, maps, timeline, everything.
That'll be great. And there's also a little stadium page on wavy.com. You go to sports, and then on the drop-down menu, you'll see ODU Stadium. You can click that on as well. And, of course, we'll have complete coverage every night on WAVY News 10 at 6 and 11, and on the Fox 43 Sports Wrap at 10:45 on Fox 43 as we lead up to the game. And then don't forget, every Wednesday night at 10:45 on Fox 43, join Coach Bobby Wilder and me for the Old Dominion Football Show. That's always a lot of fun. Harry Minium, thank you very much for being with us. And everybody have fun on Saturday night and enjoy the game.